Today we are here to seek the truth. As Barbara just now told you, that they were all seekers of truth, and they had made a certain pattern out of the logical conclusions they had reached as to the findings of reality. There have been many seers in this great country of yoga also. As I told you yesterday, that I was amazed that 2000 years back, a gentleman called Kaka Bhujangar has written in details that Sahaja Yoga will be starting, that Manvantara will take place, that human beings will go into transformations from 1970, that the Kundalini, which is in a sleeping state in human beings, will arise without any difficulties. People will not have to take to Bhakti, Jnana and Patanjali Yoga, that is devotion, and to Jnana Yoga and to these Patanjali Yoga, which you know that Patanjali has written. But there will be someone who will be able to raise the Kundalini without any difficulty. It's so remarkable, the whole thing, the description is, that I was amazed how he could see these things so clearly, as also William Blake has surprised me, and absolutely I am aghast to the details, the way he has described everything, every detail of my movement in England. These definitely help you to understand that the time has come to change. Also, we have to see the signs of some new transformation on this earth. The Nala Damayanti Purana has described that in the Kali Yuga, those people who are seeking God in the hills and dales will settle down as householders, and they will be blessed with their self-realization. This is Kali Yuga. This is a Yuga of great confusion. People are so confused, they do not know what is right, what is wrong. The situation was not so bad when people were much more innocent and simple. They were not so complicated. We really got so much complicated by our learnings, by our ego movement, I should say, by our so-called material development and all other such enterprises into which we took so much interest. We got into complications and thus into confusions, and we do not know what is right and what is wrong. Especially in the West, I would say, to add to all their misery are the wars, which have given them such a shattering, sudden shock that they are wondering about the values of virtue also. The virtues that were so fundamental, essential, as part and parcel for the sustenance of human beings also were challenged. And there are so many books which describe that these are of no use and no value anywhere. Now the whole world is in a turmoil, politically, economically, and also, I would say, materially. People do not know what are they up to, where are they going to land, and there's a big shock they are expecting from everywhere. And somebody is waiting for a big bang again to come, so that there will be some sort of a destruction once for all. I was surprised that when I went to France, in Paris, I was walking on the roads of Paris, and people were sitting outside, and they were saying that we are very miserable people, no doubt, but this is all going to end up into our destruction, thank God. So they were waiting for that destruction which will solve all the problem forever. But one has to also understand logically that this universe was created with such great care, with such delicacy, with such love and understanding. Well, is it going to be all finished without creating any substantial thing out of it? Without finding out the meaning, why it was created, do you think the whole thing will collapse? Logically, if God has any logic also, He must have thought of creating this universe with a purpose, and especially the human being with a greater purpose. But we scientists never even think once why a human being was created, why he had to pass through all these different yonis or species to become a human being, why he has achieved the state of freedom which the animals don't have, by which he can take whatever action he likes. A human being can be a lion, he can be a serpent, he can be a scorpion, he can be anything. So how is it that we, the human beings, have been given so much freedom that we can even become devils and demons, and we can even go to hell very fast as soon as we want? Why such a freedom was granted to human beings, and why we were made such powerful people that we can do whatever we like? Nobody has even thought of it, and they are just going ahead with closed eyes, saying that in the science there is no answer to this one. But if there is no answer in the science, there must be some other place where there is an answer. If you see a tree which is overdeveloped, which has got all its branches and trees, and it's a very well-laden tree, and it has a great height and propensity, naturally you conclude that this must be sustained by the roots which are deep, which are widespread, and which are supplying the essential sap for that tree. In the same way, when the world has grown so much outwardly, it has expanded so much, then it is logical that there has to be something very substantial that we must have reached sometime. Otherwise, how are we going to sustain? Of course, you cannot see the roots. That's true. But we conclude, we know for definite that every tree has its roots. In the same way, if today we think that we have got jets and we've got all these things expanded into the air, and that we have developed ourselves so high, and that now we are very scientifically alert and aware people, in the same way we must logically reach a conclusion that our awareness has also gone deep down into something very subtle that we cannot see, to something that is unknown. And that is another sign we see today, that there are so many seekers all over the world, not only in India, but all over the world there are seekers. I can tell you, when I was born, the British were ruling here. If they saw a fakir or anybody, they used to mock at it. If they heard about somebody is a saint, they used to laugh at it. They could not understand how could there be a saint really living, and according to them, saint cannot exist. And today there are so many Britishers, or we can say so many Western people, who think that they can become saints, that they have a right to become saints. It is remarkable how the same type of people have evolved into a new awareness, into a new understanding of themselves, that they feel that this is not the end of everything. All the material wealth that they have got, the affluence they have got, they feel it is not the answer, is not the answer for which they have come on this earth, for which they are existing. They call it a junk. They say it is of no use for us. This junk, why are we carrying within ourselves? Let us forget it. Let us find out something else which is everlasting, which is eternal, which is really joy-giving. But one has to reach that point to see this. This is the sad part of it. By the time you reach that point, what happens to you? That you become absolutely fagged out. You get completely so much tired and so much affected that you have no energy left either to go further or to destroy this. This is the situation you can see for yourself clearly. Today we are facing that people are seekers. If they are not seekers, they are not evolved people. Those who are really evolved are seekers and are seeking the truth, and they are genuinely doing it. I am sure a day will come that most of them will get their realization and they will achieve what they are here for. Of course, there you find many people who are absolutely wastage. I would say God has wasted his energy in creating these useless people. But forget about it. You just forget about them. Christ himself has said that if you want gold, I'll give you gold bars. You can have the gold bars to yourself and enjoy yourself and get destroyed. But those who want to enter into the kingdom of God, who are dear to me, will sit on the same table and eat food with me. These people are the people who are men of God. They are in our country, they are in another country, they are everywhere. I find the whole world is filled with it. It's such a beautiful time. It's the blossom time that so many seekers have come on this earth. Only about 2000 years back Christ said. Even in those days people had no sense at all. They crucified him. They just killed him. Muhammad Sahib came, they gave him poison. Nanak Sahib came, nobody recognized him. Kabira, nobody recognized him. It is not very far away. What about Milton? What about even Blake? Blake was never recognized when he lived, and even today I don't know how many recognize him. A person like you, who was a realized soul, who transformed his life, who talked of transformation, people didn't want to do it. Because the multitudes are not for sale. They have never been multitudes for sale. Because in the evolutionary process, you see, only few fishes first come. They try, they venture out, and they seek it. Once they seek it, then shoals of fishes crawl out. In the same way, in human life also, we will find that there will not be many Sahaja. In this book that I was describing about Nadi Granth, where it is described that Sahaja Yoga will start in 1970 and all that, it is clearly said that in the beginning, among 1 crore, only 1% will get realized. To begin with, I think we have 400 crores, so whatever it is, that means we will be only 400 people should get realization. But in the Bible it is said that there will be 1,04,044 people who will get realization. Now I don't know if that is true, but if so many get realization, I am sure we can trigger the realization of thousands and thousands of people, because they act as the channel of realization. Now the signs that the time has come to change is evident. The world is full of chaos and fear. Everyone is frightened as to what will happen. At this time, what should happen to human beings? What should they expect to happen to them? And what they expect is that they should get their self-realization. But many people don't know what is self-realization is. What to expect out of self-realization. It's all right, as she said, that we have to expect cool breeze of the Holy Ghost and all that. But what about it? Even after doing all that, what do you get? What is self-realization? What is yourself and where it lies? Self is the reflection of God within us, our heart. It resides in the heart, but is seated here on top of your head, on the continental bone area. The reflection is in your heart of God, is just a witnessing power of God. He is witnessing you. He is the one who is the Kshetragya. He is watching the field. He is looking at you, what you are doing. He is looking at you till you are alright, or he is happy, or he wants to stay there. You live. Once he disappears, one dies. Today the question came in, Mother, what happens after our death? And why are we afraid of death? It's a very question out of place, but I would say that one should not worry about death so much when you come to Sahaja. Thank God we don't remember about our previous deaths. Otherwise people would be worrying about that particular moment when they died, last life, and before that, and before that. So many times we have died. Why should we worry about death now? Even now, if you have to die, it's all right. It's a part of changing your clothes that you have to change. Whatever is born has to die. There's nothing special about it. But when we are afraid of death, as he has asked me, why? Because you have not found out something that is eternal, that is Amar, which does not die. That is your spirit. That's Satchidananda Swarupa spirit, Atma within you, which has not yet died. And it has not died, never it will die. It is eternal. And that's why you are afraid, because you have not known that state where you become